Today, we're embarking on an epic journey through time, a story written in stone, ice, and human ambition. We're diving deep into the heart of Europe to uncover the incredible story of the Swiss Alps. How did these magnificent peaks, which seem to touch the sky, come to be? And how did they shape the nation of Switzerland itself? It all began over 100 million years ago, a time when dinosaurs still roamed the earth. But where Switzerland is today, there were no mountains. Instead, there was a vast, ancient ocean called the Tethys Sea. For millions of years, sediments like sand, mud, and the shells of tiny sea creatures settled on the ocean floor, layer upon layer, slowly compacting into rock. This was the very beginning, the raw material for the future Alps. Then, the world started to change. The great tectonic plates of our planet began to move. The African plate, moving northwards, started a slow-motion collision with the Eurasian plate. Imagine two giant carpets being pushed together. What happens? They wrinkle and fold up. That's exactly what happened to the Earth's crust. The immense pressure began to squeeze and uplift those ancient seabeds. The rocks that were once at the bottom of the Tethys Sea were folded, buckled, and thrust upwards, kilometer by kilometer, over tens of millions of years. This monumental process, known as the Alpine orogeny, was not a single event, but a long drawn-out drama of geological forces. The initial uplift created a series of island chains, but the main event, the most intense phase of mountain building, happened between about 30 and 40 million years ago. This is when the iconic peaks we know today really started to take shape. Massive slabs of rock were pushed over one another, creating complex geological structures called nappes. If you look at the rock layers in the Alps today, you can see these incredible folds and faults, a testament to the colossal forces that were at play. Think of Monte Rosa or the Matterhorn. These are the direct results of this gigantic continental collision. But uplift was only half the story. As soon as the mountains rose, the forces of erosion began to tear them down. Wind, rain, and rivers started carving into the newly formed landscape. And then came the ice. About 2.6 million years ago, the Earth entered a period of repeated ice ages. Massive glaciers, some kilometers thick, advanced and retreated across the Alpine region. These weren't just static blankets of ice. They were powerful rivers of ice, grinding and scraping away at the rock. This glacial erosion is what gave the Swiss Alps their distinct, dramatic features. The glaciers carved out the deep, U-shaped valleys that are so characteristic of the region, like the Lauterbrunnen Valley. They sharpened the peaks into jagged horns, the most famous example being the Matterhorn itself. When the glaciers melted, they left behind stunning turquoise lakes, like Lake Geneva and Lake Lucerne, filling the basins they had scoured out. They also left behind moraines, huge piles of rock and debris that the ice had carried along. So, when you look at the breathtaking scenery of the Swiss Alps, you are seeing a landscape sculpted by both the immense power of tectonic uplift and the relentless artistry of ice. For most of human history, these mountains were a formidable barrier. They were seen as a wild, dangerous, and uninhabitable realm, home to dragons and spirits. Early settlers clung to the lower valleys and the shores of the lakes. The Romans managed to build a few roads over the lower passes, but for centuries, crossing the high Alps was a treacherous and seasonal undertaking. This isolation was a key factor in the development of early Switzerland. The communities living in these isolated valleys had to be incredibly self-reliant. They developed their own unique cultures, dialects, and traditions. This mountainous terrain also made it very difficult for foreign armies and feudal lords to conquer and control them. This fostered a fierce spirit of independence and cooperation among the valley communities. In 1291, 3 cantons, or regions, nestled in the heart of the Alps, Uri, Schwyz, and Unterwalden, formed an alliance. This was the foundation of the old Swiss Confederacy. Their goal was to maintain their autonomy and control the vital trade routes through the mountains, particularly the Gotthard Pass. The mountains were not just their home, they were their fortress. The The control of these alpine passes became the economic lifeblood of the early Swiss Confederation. The Gotthard Pass, in particular, provided the most direct route between northern Italy and Germany. The people of Uri built incredible paths, including daring bridges like the original Devil's Bridge, to make the pass accessible. By controlling this route, they could levy tolls and provide services to merchants and travelers, bringing wealth and strategic importance to their remote land. The mountains that once isolated them now connected them to the heart of European commerce and politics. For centuries, life in the Alps was a tough cycle of subsistence, farming, moving livestock up to high pastures in the summer, a practice known as transhumance, and hunkering down for the long, harsh winters. But in the 18th and 19th centuries, a new kind of visitor arrived. The tourist romantics, artists, and wealthy adventurers from across Europe were drawn to the Alps, not as a barrier to be crossed, but as a wonder to be experienced. They were captivated by the sublime beauty and the terrifying power of the landscape. This was the dawn of tourism. This new industry transformed the Alps. Villages that were once poor farming communities began building hotels to accommodate these new visitors. Guides were needed to lead them on mountain expeditions. The golden age of alpinism in the mid-19th century saw climbers racing to be the first to summit the great peaks, including the dramatic first ascent of the Matterhorn in 1865. To make the mountains more accessible, the Swiss embarked on one of the most ambitious engineering projects in history, building railways through the Alps. Imagine the sheer audacity of it. They blasted tunnels, like the Gotthard and Simplon tunnels, straight through the solid rock of the mountains. They built cogwheel railways that climbed impossibly steep slopes, like the one to the top of the Jungfraujoch, the top of Europe. These engineering marvels were not just for tourists. They revolutionized trade and travel, binding the nation together and solidifying Switzerland's position as the crossroads of Europe. The mountains were no longer a barrier but a landscape to be engineered and conquered. Today, the Swiss Alps are a multifaceted marvel. They are a world-class destination for skiing, hiking, and tourism, drawing millions of visitors each year. They are a crucial source of hydroelectric power, with dams and reservoirs harnessing the power of water flowing from the glaciers, providing clean energy for the country. The Alps are also a vital part of Swiss identity and culture, a symbol of nature's beauty, national resilience, and engineering genius. However, this iconic landscape is facing a new challenge: climate change. The glaciers, the great sculptors of the Alps, are melting at an alarming rate. This affects not only the landscape's beauty, but also the water supply for rivers across Europe and the stability of the mountain slopes themselves. The story of the Alps is far from over. It continues to be written, not just by geological forces, but by our own actions. From an ancient seabed to a continental battleground, from a feared wilderness to a national symbol and an engineering playground, the story of the Swiss Alps is a powerful reminder of the deep and dynamic connection between our planet and our own human story. It's a landscape that has shaped a nation and continues to capture the imagination of the world. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through time. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments which natural wonder you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.